Hey all you Yackers, I'm your host Molly Trowbridge and this is UMass Yak Back. Today we have a very special episode. We're going to be talking about frats at UMass, controversy. Second, we'll be talking about the NFL and Donald Trump. Why those two are together, I don't know. And third, we're going to be talking about Kylie Jenner and why are we talking about her? I don't know. But stick around, we'll be right back. Welcome back to UMass Yak Back. First, we're going to be talking about UMass frats. And joining us, we have Jenna, Dylan, and Lisa. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Oh, thank you.
So, can someone let me in on the gossip? What's going on with these frats? Anybody know some details?
I heard that someone's ears got bit off.
Yeah.
That's a good place to start, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of poetic if we start at the end, right? So what I hear is that part of someone's ear got Mike Tyson bit off.
Yeah.
6 stitches at Cooley Dickinson Hospital. And he is pressing charges also, I read that. And it was the result of a, quote, 40-person brawl. That's what I hear on the street. That was not in the article, so I cannot confirm that. So thoughts, like what's going on here?
Well, this happened at Phi Sig, right?
Yes,
yeah,
Phi Sig.
Okay. So, and now they're like suspended.
Yes, at least I think there's some kind of academic probation or something like that.
Yeah,
yes.
I think I read they're both, well, we haven't talked about Theta Chi, but they're both on interim suspension or something.
Yes, and Theta Chi was also mentioned. I know there's still things being resolved with Theta Chi. But yeah, Phi Sig was definitely the stealing headlines, not even just at our college, but just in the general area because it's ridiculous. So yeah, other thoughts?
I agree, but I think it's under control about now, right? Isn't it?
We don't really know how the school's reacting yet. They haven't really, other than the suspension, which is like, yeah, you have to suspend them. They haven't really done too much yet.
Yeah.
Like there hasn't really been like a resolution to it. They've kind of just said, hey, you're suspended for now. Mm-hmm. I don't know what else. I was reading that story. I forget the guy's name. Was it like Giovanni or something?
Yeah, something like that. I don't want to butcher it, but
they said it was early Sunday morning, so it was probably from the Saturday night, I guess. And then you were the one who told me about the 40-person brawl. Mm-hmm. And it's where there's a lot of like details that we're hearing around here because we're on campus and like we're around all of this that I haven't seen anything in the news reports, but it's like so many people are telling me them that I don't know if they're like rumors or the actual story. I'm not sure. That's what I think. That's just one of the points I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, I was going to say that's really important to bring up too because I feel like a lot of it is such hearsay and speculation. Yeah. And so much of this stuff is it's never going to be confirmed by the school, which I think is kind of an issue because obviously the school, UMass, doesn't want to shed light on any bad behavior by frats or any organization because they're not going to share details of at like a day drink people lighting a couch on fire. They're not going to admit that kind of stuff happens here. But I just thought it was really interesting. Any other thoughts on that in particular?
Well, I mean, in theory, why would you want to like bite someone's ears off? I'm just thinking in my mind, it could be that there was some kind of confrontation of saying an argument, confronting each other, and maybe got face to face and too close. Yeah. And it could have been like we're doing the yakking right here, and they just kind of happened to like close his mouth. Who knows? Yeah. It happened that way, but. Is it the whole ear came off?
It was 6 stitches, and it was like this much of the earlobe.
Oh wow!
Because there's a picture in the article of it stitched back on, and it's a decent chunk, I'd say.
Wow, I think I'd be looking for more information to read exactly on it.
Yeah.
And I honestly think the suspension, like no parties, like kind of makes sense. Also, I think the university probably would jump like on any chance they get to like, like suspend like the parties because like they really aren't happy with it anyways because like the police have been cracking down way more. I mean, at least the police. I can't speak about the university, but I know like the police aren't really happy with most of like the frat situations on a nightly basis. So
yeah, that was one of the things like I heard that people were talking about was this is more like, because UMass is kind of transitioning from more of like, because it used to be like a big party school to more of a like more academic focused school, and right now we're in like this kind of weird like transitional period. And I guess this is just like one of those things that happens. I don't know if they're ever going to get rid of that party culture completely though, because it's been here for like ever.
It's embedded.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I know some of the themes of our episodes when we do talk in different segments about UMass and the party culture is definitely there's this transition period happening. But it does remind me that whenever you talk to an adult and you're like, oh, I go to UMass Amherst, and they immediately say ZooMass or something of that nature. And I remember someone asking me, because I lived in the towers last year, they had said, oh, do they still like dolly up kegs through the windows of the towers? And I'm like, no. I've never heard of that happening. They're
Seriously?
really, so I'm like, things were ridiculous in the 70s and they're changing a little bit. But I thought that was interesting. Any thoughts on just like the Greek life system in general? If you feel like it's appropriate for them to have mixers, like if they should have these parties, because I know the Greek life scene is really important your freshman and sophomore year if you want to go out whatsoever here. Guys, unfortunately, kind of get the raw end of that deal. But if you're a girl, like freshman and sophomore year, you don't know enough upperclassmen, so that's kind of your way in for parties. Any thoughts on that?
I had a few friends in the agricultural frat on my floor. I don't know what the acronym is.
I don't either.
But they're not like, they're kind of on campus, but they're like, if you go through Southwest, they're like on one of the side streets, like down away from there. And like that's how I got into parties, and either that or I was with like a big group of people from the floor, and there was a lot of girls, and I was like, oh, I'll just come with you, and they were like, yeah, come with us, and I was like, okay, awesome, ratio, exactly. But it's not entirely like they're fun parties for definitely for freshmen and sophomore, because it's kind of it's the big thing. It's what you want to do as a freshman and sophomore. But like I agree with the son. It can be dangerous if you don't know. Like over drinking is like a huge thing. Like that happens with like almost everyone, especially when they first come here. And it's kind of like if you have they're changing the academics of who they're accepting here. You have to have a higher GPA and whatnot now. But that doesn't necessarily mean people are like smart enough to like not do that stuff. Like that's just kids just want to do that stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. I really don't. I don't know where I stand on the frat issue right now.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. And I don't know. Do you feel that like, I feel like UMass was saying like that we don't have hate here, and we're definitely a very inclusive community, and we're Massachusetts, so we're a lot more progressive in that respect. Do you feel like we're true to our word when it comes to like reporting things and sexual assault and binge drinking and like minutes matter? Do you feel like that those policies that we uphold are actually really like followed through on when it comes to this like Greek life culture? Anybody?
I don't really think so, honestly. From like what I've seen, I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like though, I mean, I know like most of the people I know definitely like if you see someone that like needs help, like obviously you would like say something, but like I know some people who like probably would not like call an ambulance when like they're supposed to because they don't want to get in trouble. Although I think at UMass there's like this thing like you won't get in trouble like if you call an ambulance, right? Isn't that like a thing here?
Yeah, I forget what the like, there's a phrase for it. It's like the angel clause or like something not ridiculous but important. But yeah, I think that's an important point to make. And I don't know, I think it's important that we continue to uphold these ideologies, even though it can be scary when you're like, oh, I could get in trouble for this, but minutes do matter. So yeah, thank you for your thoughts on that. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the NFL and Donald Trump again, how those things go together, plus Steph Curry. You'll find out. We'll see you back here. Welcome back to UMass Yak Back. Right now we're going to start talking about the NFL kneeling and Donald Trump. Joining us we have Sean, Dylan, and Joey. So what's going on? What's happening with this whole kneeling thing? How did it start? And why is Donald Trump suddenly involved?
Well, it started in all the way back in 2016 when Colin Kaepernick started saying that he was going to kneel in the preseason, and then he actually did it. Part of me feels like he wanted to do that just for attention because he was no longer the starter. But he did have a good point of saying that there is a lot of inequality in the country, but it blew up in it this year, especially after the election, and it's totally taken over the sport, and attention has shifted from the game to this issue.
And I think regardless of your stances on the matter, at least for factual purposes, kind of the two sides to this being that people feel, especially with full-on teams doing this now in this season, that kneeling while the national anthem is playing or while the flag is out is disrespectful. I know that's definitely more of like a veteran perspective, typically coming from the people that think that like burning the flag, it really is not a form of free speech, that perspective. And then the other side of things being that you can still peacefully protest and be respectful towards the flag at the same time, that kneeling isn't necessarily a sign of disgrace, but that they're disagreeing that this nation isn't representing me as a minority. So I thought that was interesting. Anybody want to talk about Donald Trump and how he inserted himself into the situation?
I don't know. I don't really want to talk about Donald Trump anymore, but he's always there. He's always there. One of our Twitter overlords, I guess. But he's it's becoming more. We were talking about this in I take a history of civil rights movement class, and like we have some discussion time. It's Tracy Parker's class, just a shout out to her. But we were talking about it, and she was just kind of going around. It's a class of like 200 people, and a lot of people were saying that they were worried that because he's getting involved now, the movement's becoming more of like an anti-Trump thing than what it was initially for, which is to like raise awareness about these killings like the United States by police officers. But I mean, it's not like I don't know if Colin Kaepernick has come out and said, you guys can jump in here if you know, but like, has he said specifically like why he's kneeling? Like has he stated, or is it just like we kind of gather?
I think. Go ahead.
Oh. Yeah, no, I believe he said it was over inequality.
Yeah.
I don't know if that shifts in that. I don't think he's said anything recently.
Yeah.
Seeing he's not in the NFL anymore, but I know that was also a point of contention. It's like, didn't know if that maybe the reason he's out now is because he got political.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely an interesting point to make. And I do think, not sure on specifics, but he had come out saying that it was more of like a Black Lives Matter civil rights issue that he was standing for because he was alone in his crusade last year. But yeah, I think that's an interesting point to make where it has become kind of more of an anti-Trump statement because this past Sunday, we had all of these teams with different forms of protests. The Steelers not even leaving the locker room. And interesting how other teammates have been not necessarily pressured, but because of the popularity of the movement, they've kind of joined together with different teammates supporting them. So it's interesting, and I feel like there is a lot of criticism on Donald Trump for turning his focus to the NFL, rather than Puerto Rico, for example. Any thoughts on that?
And it's sad because sports is something that people should use to get away from some of the terrible things that happened, like the baseball games that occurred after 9/11. Like that was a great way to just get away from all the tragedy, and the football should be what people should get their mind off of things. And now it seems like it's just a bunch of kids fighting in a cafeteria, yelling across the room, and it's not even political anymore. It's just it's just childish now.
So do you think it's gotten kind of like almost like out of control, like in terms of like what's happening right now? Like, do you think it should just be football?
Yeah. It's not even like it's a sport anymore. It's same with the NBA. It's become just a form of entertainment.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the message behind the kneeling is also very important for a country, and you like look at football as like a national pastime.
Right.
Like you're reaching a broad audience, and that's the other point is like it's regardless of politics, people on both sides, all like people on all sides of the political spectrum like watch football.
Mhm.
So
There was a really interesting quote I read. I forget which coach it was from, where he was talking about sports being one of like the most unifying like activities like in the country, and politics being one of the most like divisive.
Was that Robert
yeah,
Kraft?
Was that one?
Robert Kraft's statement, I believe.
yeah, and that seems right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I'd throw that in there.
No, I think that's interesting. Anyone want to talk about Steph Curry? Because I know that was the other Donald Trump related mess that happened this past week.
Yeah, I believe he said he wasn't going to the White House, and I think Donald Trump rescinded his invitation after the fact, so I'm not really sure how that works.
Yeah, I know that with Steph Curry, he had said at a mini press conference that they were going to make a team decision about the issue because it's a great opportunity for his team to be recognized because it's about the sport, it's not about the political issue necessarily. And they were going to have that conversation that afternoon, and in the morning, Donald Trump had tweeted that he disinvited him. So they didn't even have that conversation in the first place. But I thought that was interesting. Anyone upset by that, agree with it, anything like that?
I think it was okay what the Golden State Warriors did. They're allowed to peacefully protest. They didn't tweet or anything. I hate that that's our new way of protesting, just social media, but it's okay that they did that. It was wrong for Trump to rescind their invitation after them being hesitant. And it was upsetting to see that LeBron James had tweeted at him calling him a bum. Like, that's not the right way to go about your views. You could, express them different ways than using those words.
Well, then again, I'm pretty sure Trump also tweeted about Kaepernick and like the protests calling them SOBs, and that's why all these NFL teams came together and were so defensive.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Well, as for me, you can catch me still commenting on every one of Tom Brady's Instagrams until I get blocked. So we'll be right back, and we're going to talk about Kylie Jenner and her pregnancy. As you can see, we've undergone a lot of changes since commercial break, but so has Kylie Jenner. With us, we have Wafi, Olivia, and Sarah. So, as you can see, I'm pregnant. It's a rustling baby, and there are more than one.
Oh,
and I'm
good.
choosing to not know the gender until I have it, because it could be a tree, it could be a leaf. We don't really know. So why am I talking about this? Kylie Jenner. What's going on with that? Anybody know?
She preggo. She's got a baby on the way, maybe.
On the way?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's like apparently it's like not really confirmed yet, because apparently Kylie's allegedly pregnant and Chloe's allegedly pregnant too. So
that's the other truth bomb here.
Yeah.
That Kylie came out as being pregnant, not confirmed by her, only by sources close to the Kardashians. And then, yesterday, so like a day or two later, Khloe is now pregnant. And I know that I'm not a huge Kardashian follower, but I know she had difficulty getting pregnant or had like fertility problems when she was with Lamar. And both are unconfirmed by any Kardashians. I think Khloe's was leaked by one of the producers, so it's more believable. Thoughts on this? Like, what's going on here? What's this about?
I mean, I've just been reading a lot. It keeps coming up that she's pregnant, so I would assume if they haven't shot it down by now, I would think that if she wasn't pregnant, they would just come out and say, it seems like they're hiding something. So I think she is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point to make because I think their show is premiering soon, I believe. And if I were not pregnant, and people were saying I was, I think I'd come out and say, hey guys, I'm not pregnant. Because I'm not. But do you think it's another attention-seeking tactic? Like, what do you think about this method?
I would think that someone would say, like, hey, I'm not pregnant. But then also, like, considering a lot of other things that this whole family has done, and, like, I feel like half of the stuff you hear about them are rumors that they're just, like, going along with. Because they're like, yeah, we got a premiere, like, coming out. Why not? Yeah. So she might not be pregnant. Also, if Chloe's producer leaked that, that's so shady. That's not loyal.
But Sarah, does it surprise you at all?
No.
No, not at all. But what's interesting too is that apparently Kylie's due date is February. So that means she is 5 months pregnant right now.
Oh.
Wafi, what are you thinking?
I had no idea. I thought it was just like, oh, I just found out.
No.
Oh, so she's been carrying the baby for like quite some time.
The baby.
Oh my God, this is messy.
Yeah, this is messy.
Wait, so why did she take so long, like to?
She didn't take long because she didn't tell.
Oh,
she,
but then that's
she didn't confirm it, so we don't even know.
That's weird. There's like no pictures, like a small bump or anything.
No. I think she posted an Instagram recently and everyone was like, she doesn't look pregnant. So why isn't she like confirming or denying these rumors? And on top of that, may we add that Kim Kardashian West has a surrogate carrying her baby that's due in January.
So many babies.
Yeah, exactly. So many new Kardashians.
So many new Kardashians. They're repopulating the
That's
world.
what the world needs. The world needs more Kardashians right now.
So is it a rumor that Kylie is the surrogate? Because that would be so weird, but it eerily matches up.
I did not even think of that.
See, you fell right into my trap. It's exactly what I was going for. It's really interesting. Like, is Kylie her surrogate? What's going on with that?
That would be so weird.
Because they're what, half siblings? They're step siblings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be that weird. And I know people have asked like their siblings to carry children for them before. I think it's quite odd.
Yeah. How old is she?
She's 20, I think.
Yeah, I think she just turned 20.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's about our age, and she's apparently pregnant. Interesting. And it's funny because I should have expected it, but I never did. I never thought it would happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now my question being, if you were a Kardashian, which Kardashian would you be? Male or female or Jenner, you know, that whole realm. Let's go down.
I think Kourtney, because she seems to be like the realist. Because she was the one that was like, Kim, there are people dying when she lost her earring. So I thought that was really funny. I was like, oh, I relate to that. So Kourtney, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
I was also gonna say Kourtney. She just seems like the most fun of all of them. You know, not as like she's pretty into herself, but like she's just kind of more like lighthearted. You know, she just seems fun. She's just the one you'd kind of be friends with.
Okay. Sarah.
I feel like Chloe. I don't know why. I just feel like she's like one of us. Of all the Kardashians, like she's kind of on our level a little bit. She kind of gets it. I don't know. I also feel like she just like doesn't put up with like any of them. Especially like Kris. She's always like roasting Kris.
Okay.
That's nice. Of what I've seen. Maybe she's not always.
No, that's
I
fair.
Like it.
And your least favorite Kardashian being?
Oh, starting here?
Yeah, why not?
Oh gosh. Probably the Jenners. I can't choose like Kendall and Kylie specifically, those two. Just because I feel like they've done a lot of questionable things. Kendall with like the Pepsi advert, Kylie with like, well, both of them with like the shirts they made, putting their faces next to like dead celebrities. It's like, did you really have to do that? So, yeah, I kind of mixed feelings about them.
Do you want to speak to the Pepsi advertisement for like people that don't know?
Oh, like the Pepsi advert, like Kendall. Long story short, Kendall ended like a riot protest kind of thing by just handing a can of Pepsi to like the cop. And now they're all happy. So it's kind of like, that's really problematic because it's like, damn, Kendall, you should have known better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and least favorite for you two?
I'd probably just say Kim. I feel like she's overrated.
Okay.
And one time I saw her, she was like doing an interview, and when they put like the caption under like why they're famous, it literally just said famous person. So like I don't actually feel like she's doing anything. She's just like famous for being famous.
Okay. Fair enough. Sarah?
I think, I guess Kylie. Something about her just like rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. I would say Kim, except some of her tweets are so funny.
True.
Like, you can't believe that a human like actually like put those words together and was like, this needs to be shared.
Sure.
So I respect her on that subject.
Well, I appreciate the responses. As for me, I most relate to Rob Kardashian fat ears, you know? So, thanks for sticking around. Again, I'm your host, Molly Trowbridge, and this was UMass Yak Back. See you next week.